Hi, welcome to How to Repair. Today we're going to be looking at the 2.5 to 3 kilo compact tumble dryer. These are made in China for companies like Cookology, Bush, Avanti and Panda. Although the machine may look slightly different, the inside of the machine is exactly the same. I will show you how to maintain the machine, also how to replace the two belts on the machine. One is the drum belt, which sometimes can come off the drum when overloaded, and sometimes the vented fan system, which is the air system. This basically turns this around. This is what causes the airflow inside the machine to dry the clothes. And if the filters are not cleaned on a regular basis, this can build up with fluff and lint and also cause it not to dry efficiently and also create some weird noises on the machine. Also, we'll have a look how to access the heating system, test the heating system, also the cutout fuse and the cutout thermostat and the cycling thermostat, access to the control timer, and also there is a hidden fuse in these machines that people don't realize that's there, and sometimes if you have a direct short this fuse can blow, so I'll show you where that is as well. And we'll strip down the machine and go through all the components. Now, first things first, you need to look after the filters. If you don't look after the filters and clean them on a regular basis, then basically fluff and lint will build up in the machine and stop the efficiency of the machine. There's a small intake filter at the front, and then you have the main filter at the back, which you twist and pull. That comes off. It also has a lint and a mesh, which both need cleaning on a regular basis. I suggest you do this every 1 or 2 loads on this filter. The front filter might not need to be cleaned as often as that. Okay, to take the back off the machine, there is a selection of screws all the way around the machine. Leave the 3 at the bottom here and the 3 at the top. That's to support the spider for the actual drum. So we'll just remove these. By the way, normally with these machines there is a wiring diagram on the back of the machine. I will also put a close-up of this on the website as well, link in the description below. Okay, here's the back of the machine. This is the elasticated belt which turns the fan. The inner belt is the drum belt. Now this just comes off and it's stretchy, and sometimes on these dryers the belt can come off the machine, and basically this is usually down to overloading, or the actual pulley wheel, which is located on the shaft, might also have come loose at some stage. I'll show you that in a second. Now, if you are fitting a new belt, you will need to undo the 3 screws here and 3 screws at the top to put the belt onto the drum first. Once the belt is on the drum, the belt itself goes through the pulley wheel at the bottom. Then you have to bring it round over the shaft and onto the main drive on the pulley wheel. Once that's on, get the belt onto the drum and slowly rotate it round. And make sure it lines up on the pulley wheel, and also make sure that this adjustable pulley shaft, there's an Allen key in the shaft itself which may have come loose, and this shaft might be not lining up with the pulley wheel or jockey wheel here. Once those are lined up, just turn the drum, make sure she's running nicely on the 2 pulleys, the jockey pulley and also the main drive pulley. Then the belt, make sure it's on the drum correctly. Then the belt just stretches over and onto there. And that is what turns the internal fan, which turns the air in the machine. Okay, now we'll remove the drum. So the first thing you need to do is the 2 clips. They're just twist clips on these. To undo the thermostat, you could take the wiring off, but it's easier to do it this way. So just make sure the wiring's loose. This is called the cycling thermostat, and it measures the air temperature that is flowing inside this ducting system. Now remember, when taking this apart, there are different screws for different locations. So keep these two separate. They're for the thermostat. The screws around the outside were a different size. Then take this belt off. Then undo the 3 screws, top and bottom. These 3 are also different to the ones on the outside. Then the drum will drop down. Ease the belt off as I showed you just now. Take the belt off the motor, and that's what you would do to replace the belt. Nice and simple, easy process. Once that's off, if you need to replace this belt, it just goes over, but you will need to undo the 2 screws here and 2 screws here to get this belt on. This shaft will then drop back a little bit, but I'll leave that on for the moment. The drum comes out. Okay, now we've got the back of the machine off and the drum out. Let me just explain some of the components. The heating system is behind here, which I'll show you in a minute. We have the cycling thermostat, which was on the back of the drum. The timer is here. We also have a square type capacitor, 2 lead, and on this machine it is a 5 microfarad and it's a CBB61. You will find these at the website. Normal problem with these tumble dryers, when the capacitor goes, you will hear a humming sound, but the drum's not turning. If you are hearing the motor turn, but the drum is not turning, then it's usually a belt problem, or possibly on the actual pulley shaft. Now this pulley shaft has got an Allen key, as I said, and that can actually move up and down on the shaft to gain the alignment with the drum, straightforward. And you've got the jockey wheel here, which is on a spring, and this gives the belt the tension to turn the clothes. But sometimes if the drum is overloaded, the belt can jump off the drum. And this is a common problem with these machines when people overload the machine. At the bottom here is something I don't like. Basically the wiring harness, the manufacturer only tapes it up. I'm not going to cut it open to show you, but hidden in this jumble of wiring is a fuse, and it will vary from machine to machine. Some of the fuses are either 5 amp, 8 amp, but just inspect the fuse and you'll see written on the fuse what size the fuse is if it has blown. That's usually caused by a direct short. So the next thing we need to gain access to is the heater, and I'll show you where the heater is. Both this thermostat and the forward thermostat should both have continuity. If they haven't got continuity, then that could be the problem with the drying cycle on the machine. So to take the heater out of the machine, you will see an assortment of screws going around here, and I'll quickly remove these. Keep those screws separate, they are different again. Then this slides off, and then you will need a small 8mm spanner to undo this nut that is the earthing wire to get this out of the way. It has got a Phillips head on the other side. Just in case you can't undo it, you might have to put a Phillips on there. Then you will need to lift up this lug and the earth wire can come out of the way. Again, keep those two separate as they are different. Now the heating system, straightforward. Once you've undone the cover, you need to turn the machine back round and undo 2 screws at the front. I'm just removing the filter so I don't damage it. Again, keep these two screws separate, and then the heating system will drop down. And here you have, this is either a cutout thermostat at 60 degrees or it's a cycling thermostat. I can't tell you which. You'll have to check with the model of your machine. There are basically 3 wires attached to this heating element, and they have long sleeves that go all the way in. That's quite important. Now I'll just quickly do a meter reading on a new one so you know what the levels should be. Okay, I'm just going to turn my multimeter to ohms and continuity, and I'll do top to bottom so you can see what the readings should be. And the first reading between 1 and 2, we have a reading of about 1378. Number 1 to number 3 is a reading of 1826. And number 2 to number 3 is a reading of 447. Okay, the thermostat or cutout thermostat should have direct continuity, which it has, and also the cycling thermostat, which is the one that I took off. And if I take one wire off this, you should also have continuity on these two as well. If you haven't got continuity on any of these, then that is the reason why your dryer is not heating, sorry. So that's the heating system. I'll put all this back together. Okay, next thing we'll test is the door interlock, just so I can show you this. Now, when the door is open, there will be no continuity, and when the door is shut, we will have continuity. So I'll just take one wire off to test this, and I'll drop the other connection down there. So with the door open, we don't have any continuity at all on the multimeter. Let me get my arm out of the way so you can see. And when the door shuts, we have continuity. That means the door lock is good. Okay, before we reassemble the machine, let me go through the workings on the air system on the back of the drum, and also quickly the mounting system for the bearings or felt pads. At the front here, you can see that there is a felt that runs all the way around the cover for the heater. This sits in here, and that is what rotates on the drum. Now at the back, that needs to be cleaned up, and if it's not good condition, then you need to replace the felt. Now if we take the filter out and put that to one side, you will see 4 screws here. Now if you remove those 4 screws, the plastic cover comes away. The drum can go to one side, and here you have the fan assembly, which the stretch belt actually rotates, and that's what causes the air to flow around the machine. Now this can get badly linted up with fluff and lint, and this needs to be cleaned to make sure that the efficiency of the airflow is working correctly. And at the back here you've got another felt, which is the seal against the drum, and if you need to replace this belt, you just need to undo these screws and then you would be able to undo the belt, undo the 2 on the other side, then the belt will come off, or you can replace it with the new belt. So I'll just put all this back together. Next we need to put the drum back on. So just line up the screw holes first before dropping it down. I do it this way because it's quicker. I'll drop the filter on now. And that's ready to reinsert into the back of the machine. Okay, just reinsert the heater. Make sure if you've done anything with the heater that you've put these sleeves all the way down. Just line them up with the holes. And now we'll put the cover on and attach the earth wire. There's a little clip that goes over the earth wire. Just push it down and we'll drop our bolt in. Now we can put this on and line up the holes. And clip the earth wire back onto the tab, because I loosened it to reinsert it. So just twist that round the earth wire. Now we can actually put the drum in. I do suggest you put the belt onto the drum first. Take it in and just get it so it lines up on the pads at the front. Then line it up on the screw holes. So line it up, drop the screws in. Remember to put the two clips in that holds the wiring from it catching the drum. Drop the thermostat in. Put the thermostat in. Make sure you use the correct screws, as these two are different to the rest of the machine. Make sure you put the cabling in neatly, as you don't want it to chafe against the drum. And just give it a twist and fold them out the way, over the wheel, onto the shaft pulley. And then just rotate the drum. Give it a couple of rotations just to make sure it's all lining up. Now this belt, there's a little pulley behind. Make sure it's on that pulley. Then just stretch the belt and put it over. Line up our filter cover and replace all the screws. And there we go. Tumble dryer's all working perfectly. And that's the basic maintenance with this machine. Make sure you look after the filters and do a little bit of maintenance occasionally. I hope this video helped you find the fault with your machine and to replace any components that were needed. I will put links in the description below, and all the parts I will put on the website for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thanks very much indeed for watching this video, and if we really helped, you can always click on the Bipolar Beer page. Thanks very much indeed for watching.